Teaser of Doctor Doom, you say?
Marvel just dropped a huge teaser for Avengers Doomsday and specifically Doctor Doom.
It seems Avengers Doomsday is very close to wrapping with filming. I have details about Thanos returning, some more characters in Avengers Doomsday.
Do you meet up before you commit to a role? Do you ever say, like, I want to meet Captain America and find out what the fuck that guy's really like?
So it looks like Marvel Studios might have made some major changes to what their plans were for Avengers Doomsday.
What if I told you that Tony Stark, the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist we've followed for more than a decade, was never real at all? What if every sacrifice, every heroic moment, every line we memorized actually belonged to someone else entirely? Because hidden under the mask of Iron Man, Marvel may have been showing us Victor Von Doom the whole time. For years, fans brushed past strange details, odd lines, and unexplained moments. But when you connect the dots, the truth is terrifying. The man we thought was Tony Stark could have been the MCU's biggest villain all along. And Marvel didn't just hint at it once or twice. They planted the evidence across Iron Man 2, Endgame, and even long before Robert Downey Jr. ever wore the suit. This isn't fan fiction. It's a 20-year plan coming full circle, and the twist could change everything we thought we knew about the MCU. Because if Tony Stark was really Doctor Doom, Marvel's greatest hero was always its greatest villain. And when this truth finally comes out, it won't just rewrite the MCU's future, it'll rewrite its past.
Tied to something maybe higher, but you think is out of your reach. And I got to go have dinner with a bunch of the Marvel folks last night.
And you guys sit down, and when you first receive a script for one of these things, do they consult with you? Do they discuss this with you? Do they just lay it out and say, this is the character arc? How do you feel about this? What do you think?
Think back to Avengers Endgame. Tony travels back to 1970, sneaks into the military facility, and unexpectedly runs into his father, Howard Stark. It's a moment loaded with emotion. Father and son face to face across time. But then Howard casually drops a bomb. His wife, Maria, is pregnant, and that's when Tony freezes. Most viewers saw it as nostalgia, a son overwhelmed seeing his father alive again. But watch closely. Tony's expression isn't just sentimental, it's confusion, even fear, because the math doesn't line up. By Tony's calculations, he should have already been born, but he wasn't. Something was wrong, horribly wrong. And for the first time, Tony's mask slipped. It wasn't just a heartfelt scene, it was Marvel hiding a massive secret in plain sight. Why did Tony look like a man who just realized the universe wasn't what it seemed? Because maybe it wasn't. That wasn't the face of a man reliving family memories. That was the face of someone discovering the timeline itself was broken. And this tiny moment, brushed aside by audiences, was Marvel's first breadcrumb leading to its biggest twist. But this wasn't the only clue, because 2 films earlier, Howard Stark said something that takes on a chilling new meaning when you hear it again.
How much of acting is managing those weird relationships that you have with these other people that you're acting with?
You need an environment of respect, but
In Iron Man 2, Howard
like
tells Tony,
things.
"My greatest creation is you." On the surface, it feels warm, even poetic, a proud father admiring his son. But dig deeper into that word. He doesn't say, "my greatest achievement." He doesn't say, "my greatest gift." He says creation. Creation implies something made, not born, something designed, not natural. Suddenly, the line feels less like a father's blessing and more like a cryptic warning. Was Howard hinting that Tony wasn't his biological child at all? That Tony was something different? The MCU has always loved wordplay, but this line feels deliberate. And when you combine it with Tony's odd freeze in Endgame, a new picture starts to form. What if Tony Stark wasn't the man we thought? What if Howard and Maria weren't his real parents? What if Tony himself was part of a bigger plan designed to manipulate the timeline? Because once you accept that possibility, the rest of Marvel's puzzle pieces start falling into place. And the biggest clue of all, Robert Downey Jr. himself, long before he was Iron Man, nearly played another Marvel character. And not just any character, but the very villain at the heart of this theory. Back in 2005, years before Iron Man hit theaters, Robert Downey Jr. auditioned for a role in Fantastic Four. And the role wasn't Reed Richards, wasn't Johnny Storm, it was Victor Von Doom. Yes, the man destined to become Marvel's most dangerous villain. He didn't get the part, but fate is patient. Nearly 2 decades later, RDJ returned to the MCU, beloved as Tony Stark, only for whispers to emerge that Marvel never forgot about that audition, that the seeds of him becoming Doom were planted long before he ever wore the Iron Man suit. And this isn't just wild speculation. Recently, the Russo brothers admitted they weren't planning to return for Secret Wars until they heard an idea so massive it pulled them back in. That idea? Robert Downey Jr. not as Tony Stark, but as Doom. The casting symmetry is almost poetic. He was nearly Doom in 2005. He became Iron Man in 2008. And now Marvel may be ready to reveal he's been Doom the entire time. This one decision rewrites everything. The villain fans thought was missing buildup has been here since the very beginning, hiding in plain sight as the MCU's most beloved hero. But if Tony was really Doom, how could that even be possible? The answer lies in the multiversal war, and Kang's plan to erase entire timelines. Before the events of Loki or Endgame, there was the multiversal war, countless timelines clashing for dominance. And in one of those timelines, Victor Von Doom ruled. He wasn't just a scientist or sorcerer, he was a king. But when Kang, or rather He Who Remains, finally won, he didn't just prune that timeline, he erased it entirely. Doom's kingdom, gone. His people, erased. His throne, shattered like it never existed. But Kang didn't stop there. Killing Doom wasn't enough. Kang knew that even if you destroy a Doom, another will rise somewhere in the multiverse. Doom is inevitable. So instead of wiping him out, Kang decided to break him in the cruelest way possible, by rewriting his very existence. In the new sacred timeline, Kang arranged for Doom to be adopted by Howard and Maria Stark. He wasn't raised as a tyrant, but as a hero. His memories erased, his destiny stolen, his name replaced. He lived his life believing he was Tony Stark, genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, never knowing that deep inside, he was Victor Von Doom. And suddenly, all those strange cracks in Tony's story make perfect sense. His unnatural brilliance, his quick mastery of impossible science, his arrogance that often felt more like a ruler than a hero. It wasn't Tony bleeding through, it was Doom. And that explains one of the biggest head-scratchers in the entire MCU, Tony Stark inventing time travel overnight. In Endgame, Bruce Banner admits time travel is nearly impossible. Even with all his knowledge as the Hulk, he couldn't solve it. Yet Tony Stark, he cracks it in one night, almost casually. Fans shrugged it off as Tony being Tony. But what if that wasn't Stark's genius at all? What if that was Doom's? Because in the comics, time travel is Doom's signature specialty. He's not just capable of it, he's obsessed with it. So when Tony figured it out instantly, it wasn't luck or sudden brilliance. It was Doom's knowledge surfacing through the mask of Stark. And it doesn't stop there. Look at Tony's willingness to bend rules, to manipulate outcomes, to play with the very fabric of reality. He wasn't hesitant, he was confident, almost like someone who had already mastered temporal mechanics in another life. That wasn't hesitation, that was experience. Doom-level experience. Now ask yourself this, if Doom was Tony Stark the whole time, doesn't that mean every heroic sacrifice, every moment of brilliance, every impossible invention belonged not to Tony, but to Doom? It's a terrifying thought, because it means Marvel's biggest villain has already lived as the MCU's greatest hero. And once Doom learns the truth, he won't just seek revenge on Kang, he'll turn the entire MCU upside down. Kang's plan wasn't just about erasing timelines, it was about control. He knew Doom was too dangerous to leave unchecked, so he repurposed him. By making Doom believe he was Tony Stark, Kang leashed his greatest threat and turned him into a defender of the very timeline that destroyed his life. Every Avengers victory, every battle Tony led, all of it secretly served Kang's design. That's why the MCU began with Iron Man instead of Spider-Man or the X-Men. That's why mutants didn't exist. That's why Spider-Man entered late, why Venom never appeared, why so much of Marvel's world felt incomplete. Kang pruned the timeline until it fit his vision, and Doom was his puppet keeping it safe. And that's why Marvel fans were wrong to say Doom had no build-up in the MCU. Thanos got 6 years of teasers. Doom got 20 years of screen time. Every movie with Tony Stark was secretly a Doom story, hidden in plain sight. But here's where Kang's brilliance backfires. By turning Doom into Tony, he gave him something Victor Von Doom never had before. The lived experience of being a hero. Doom has now felt friendship, sacrifice, and responsibility. He knows the weight of laying his life down for others. Combine that with his ambition and ruthlessness. You don't just have a villain, You have the most dangerous figure the MCU has ever seen. And when Doom finally remembers who he is, his revenge won't stop at Kang. It will consume the Avengers, the timeline, and the universe itself. Imagine the betrayal. The Avengers rally behind Tony Stark, the man they trust more than anyone, only to learn he was never Tony at all. When Doom finally rips the mask away, it won't just shatter the team's unity, it will shatter their very sense of reality. And here's the terrifying part. Doom won't have to force them into his plan. He'll convince them, because the truth of the sacred timeline is devastating. Wanda will discover her children were erased by Kang's design. Thor will realize Asgard's destruction was scripted, not destiny. Peter Parker will see that his suffering was orchestrated, every loss engineered for control. These aren't just heroes anymore. They're victims of a lie. Doom won't conquer them with power. He'll turn them with truth. And in that moment, the evil Avengers will rise. Not as brainwashed puppets, but as willing soldiers in Doom's rebellion. Kang turned a villain into a hero. Now Doom will flip the board, turning heroes into villains. And with RDJ's Doom at the helm, this isn't just another villain team-up. This is Marvel's most shocking betrayal. The Avengers we loved won't just fall. They'll choose to. But this betrayal isn't the end. It's the beginning of Marvel's reset. Because in Secret Wars, Doom's plan doesn't just target Kang, it targets the entire MCU itself. Secret Wars won't just be Marvel's biggest crossover, it will be its funeral. Because Doom's true revenge isn't killing Kang, it's erasing the sacred timeline. Every movie we've watched for over a decade, every battle, every sacrifice, all of it burns so Marvel can restore the original universe. This is where the soft reboot happens. The X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and Avengers finally coexist in one seamless reality. No awkward rights issues, no multiverse excuses. It will feel like the Marvel universe we've always known in the comics. Mutants in the headlines, Fantastic Four legends in New York, Spidey swinging past the Baxter Building. But the cost? The MCU as we know it dies. Steve Rogers, Wanda, Thor, Sam Wilson, Peter Parker, gone. Erased like they never existed. And Doom, the man who lived as Tony Stark, will be the one holding the detonator. Yet here's the bittersweet twist. Doom doesn't survive the reset, because the man we knew, the hybrid of Doom and Stark, can't exist in Marvel Prime. When the dust settles, the real Tony Stark will finally appear, untouched by Kang, played by someone new. But RDJ's Doom will vanish, erased from history, his sacrifice echoing louder than Iron Man's snap. And that's how Marvel closes the book on RDJ. Not with a cameo, not with a cash grab, but with the most devastating twist in MCU history. Think about it. For 20 years, Marvel made us believe in Tony Stark. We laughed with him, cried with him, watched him fall and rise again. And then, in one moment, they pull the rug out and reveal he was Doom all along. It's the ultimate betrayal, but it's also the boldest storytelling move in cinema history. Because Doom doesn't just win by defeating Kang, he wins by proving he was always the most important character in the MCU. He shaped its beginning, he defines its end, and even in his erasure, he leaves behind a universe molded by his hand. Marvel fans will walk out of theaters stunned, divided, arguing over whether Doom was right. Was he a villain who destroyed everything we knew, or a savior who freed the multiverse from Kang's control? That moral tension is exactly why this theory feels so real. Because Marvel thrives on questions that keep us talking long after the credits roll. And when the mask finally comes off, we'll realize the truth. The MCU's biggest hero was always its greatest villain. Tony Stark never existed. It was Victor Von Doom from the very beginning. And whether you love it or hate it, you'll never watch Marvel the same way again.